Inside this little unassuming huck fin tackle box is a treasure chest full of vintage lures that are chocked with rich history. And this week on Angling Archaeology, we're going to take a look at those lures, and we're going to learn the history about them as well too. And why are we doing that? Well, so you can be armed with the knowledge when you're out in the wild, at garage sales, estate sales, wherever the case may be, and you're picking lures. You kind of know what you're looking at. When did it come out? What kind of lure is it? You know, what's the age of this thing? So stick around, you might learn something, or if anything else, you might get in a pretty good nap. Either way, it's a win-win. Stick around. So before we jump into this box of vintage lures, I have to give a big shout out to my brother who actually found all these lures, because you know what, folks? Sometimes these deals aren't always in your backyard, so it's nice to have somebody that's kind of keeping an eye out for you for these great deals. And so I guess you can kind of consider this couch picking. So he'd FaceTime me and I'd be on my phone and I'd be like, well, yep, buy that, buy all those, nope, pass on that, buy every single one of those, yes. And so big thank you to him for being on the lookout for me and finding these deals. And without further ado, let's go ahead and head outside because the weather's great, the lighting's great, and let's see what's inside this box. Also, real quick, what do you guys think about the vintage 80s, 90s visor? I think that's making a comeback. I think it's gonna be the next thing, folks. Or I could just look like a complete dork, but I kind of look like a dork anyways, with or without a visor, but I think this is gonna be it. This is gonna be the hot look for summer 2026. Or maybe not at all. Who knows? Whatever. All right, let's go check out these lures. All right, folks, before we get started, I gotta tell you, I'm a little bit nervous. I've actually got a little studio audience right here. We got none other than Bert, and he looks about as awake as probably most of you are right now. So let's go ahead and dive into this box and see what we've got. All right, to kick off this tackle box, we're gonna be coming in hot like a storm with none other than Storm Lures. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna start on this side and move over. I'm not gonna ruin the whole surprise, so we're just gonna go ahead and pull out these silver shads, and then we're gonna take a look at the rest of the box as we go. But what we've got here are some really nice examples of early 80s silver shads, and how I know that are these kind of like naturalistic patterns that are on here. And so this was kind of all the rage in the late 70s, early 80s to have these kind of cool natural patterns, and we're going to kind of bring these lures to life by looking at them in Bass Pro shop catalogs as well. So we've got two nice examples here of crawfish. These are very nice. We have a very cool, this is a shad color with a black back and an orange belly. And then we've got one here. This is called the Naturistic Shad Orange Belly. Okay, so very nice pattern there. Just love that kind of printed on look that we got right there. So now if you look at this 1982 Bass Pro catalog, you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. So let's go ahead and just kind of pull this over. And what we've got right here, now these are obviously, the silver shads are over on this side. I'm just showing you this just to demonstrate the different colors that they have, but you have, you know, the green crawfish, you've got the perch, the crawfish pattern that we're kind of seeing right here, but some really fine examples right there. Now, if you look inside the Storm catalog, like this catalog right here from 1984, they would call this color Naturistic Brown Crayfish. Okay, a little bit of a mouthful. And this is the same color as what we're seeing right here. Bass Pro Shop's like, we're just gonna call it a crawfish. And that's good enough for us. So that's where we're gonna kick off this box. But I wanna show you this stuff. So if you're out in the wild and you're looking at these lures and you're kind of trying to figure out how old is this and what year do you think this is? Well, generally, if you see these kind of lifelike patterns or these naturistic patterns, as Storm called them, it's probably gonna be sometime in the late 70s, early 80s. But some really nice examples of what we have right here. And so there you have it. We're gonna kick it off there with those. Now, keeping with the theme of Storm, now what we have here is a really cool rainbow trout Hot'N Tot. Love this. I mean, that is just a really fun, cool lure. And then over here, we've got one that's a little bit oxidized, but I think, hey, look at this. If you kind of put your finger across that, that's kind of cleaning up a little bit. That's an awesome looking crawfish pattern for a Hot'N Tot right there. So nice example right there. So just a fun early 80s lineup right here, some Storm products. And if you like what you see right here too, I'm also going to have some of these on Angling Archaeology eBay. So some of this stuff will be for sale. Like I've already got a few of these, so this one will be for sale. And you know, I don't know that I need 2 crawfish patterns, so I'm sure I can sell you one of these, and maybe I'll throw in the rainbow trout as well too. So be on the lookout for that. All right, coming up next out of the tackle box here, and see if you guys can guess what this is. But this is a Bayou Boogie, and I think specifically a Heddon Bayou Boogie. And why do I think that? Well, judging by the age of some of these other lures that we have in the box, I'm going to guess that this one's probably also from the early to mid 80s. So I'm going to say this is probably the Heddon version. So actually in 1983, Heddon acquired Whopper Stopper, which had the iconic Bayou Boogie. Then really soon after in 84, Pradco then acquired Heddon. And actually in 1982, if we're going backwards, Heddon also had the Pico Perch, and you can see that right here. I'll put that ad right there so you can take a look at that. But in 83, we got the Whopper Stopper. So we'll go ahead and take a look at what that looks like here in the 83 catalog. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to tell you right now, both Whopper Stopper and Pico lures have a very rich history, and I think we need to dig into those in another episode. I mean, they really deserve their own episodes, but for the sake of this video and the lure that I specifically have in my hand, I think this specifically is a Heddon Bayou Boogie from the mid-80s, and so that's why we're talking about this right here. So what color do we have here real quick before we jump into the catalog? Well, this is called a yellow coach dog. And what is a coach dog, you might ask? Well, a coach dog is exactly what it sounds like. It's actually a dog. So think of a Dalmatian. This is almost like a Dalmatian pattern on this. And they also had another lure too, very similar to this, that was a yellow black dot. And I'll show you what that looks like here in just a little bit as well too. But let's go ahead and dig into 1983. And we can kind of see what that looked like in the catalog. So they're showcasing the new Rattling Bayou Boogie right there, but really an iconic lipless crankbait from back in the day. Now, speaking of Whopper Stopper, we can't leave this page until we talk about the Hellbender. And as a matter of fact, this tackle box had quite a few Hellbenders in it. So we're going to take a look at some of those right now as well too. I mean, arguably the most iconic lure by Whopper Stopper was the Hellbender, and we see a whole page color chart here. We're going to take a look at a few different catalogs with Hellbenders on there. So now, how do you know it's a Hellbender? Because there is other metal lipped crankbaits. Okay, so the dead giveaway for these is the heart shape on the bill right here, and then also they have that iconic blade on the tail as well too. So that's how you know you got a Hellbender. Now, they're a little bit different from other ones like the Martin Lizard, which is a little bit more flattened out or squared out, if you will. Obviously the Bomber kind of looks like a bomb, if you will. And this one just had a little bit of a groove in the body right here. You know, the head's defined, the body's defined. It has this tail spin and it has the heart-shaped bill. So that's what you know the Hellbender looks like. So let me just show you here. You see the color chart here from 1984. Let's get a little crazy, folks. Let's go way back in time, way back when, to a catalog that I'm sure a lot of you have not seen stuff out of, and that is the 1974. And I marked a couple pages here that I wanted to show you that I thought were really cool. Now, sadly, this catalog is disintegrating very quickly, but look at the color chart that we've got right here. Really neat. So we can kind of look at the different colors we have from this color chart, and we can see the pages are just, oh man, that is, woo, falling apart. There. Okay, so looking at the color chart right here, this one similar to the coach dog, and you might think at quick glance that is a coach dog. No, this is actually yellow with black dots, and you can see that right there. So I know this one's a newer version of that, but essentially it's the same one as what we've got right here. And let's see if we can pull that up for you. Actually, I can just take this whole page out so you guys can see that a lot better. So that's what a yellow black dot, and you can tell the difference too is also in the bill. See how that can have a black bill, black around the eyes. This one they just straight up made the dots and called it a day. Now, what else do we have here? Now, if we're looking at this one right here, pink-eyed ghost, and that's what this one is right here. And you can see kind of got that see-through, clear, really nice. Awesome little lure right there. And then these other two, I'm pretty sure I got these colors right, but I'm sure someone can correct me if I'm wrong. See, we have a yellow perch minnow. I'm pretty sure that's what this one is right here. I'm pretty sure this is like a newer version, maybe even the Heddon version of the yellow perch minnow. And then I believe we have a green perch right there. So that's what we've got as far as those. But let's show you some other, just as we're reeling in the years, if you will. Got the 74. I showed you the 83. Let's just move up in time 11 years from 70. Actually, that was 75. No, that was 74. I'm gonna move 74 to 85 here, and then we can also see kind of what these colors look like. This is probably around the time frame of the lures that I have. I'm gonna guess it's probably sometime in the mid 80s, and that's what we've got right here. So there you have it. Cool stuff. Moving on. All right, rounding out the top tray, we have this lure right here, and this is none other than the Big Jim, named for the guy that created it. His name is Jim Rogers. Him, along with Billy Westmoreland, created the Big Jim right here. Now, does this lure look a little familiar to you? Does it remind you of something else that was popular back in the mid-70s? Well, it may, because Billy actually helped make the Big O famous. And I've got some Big O's here in the box. We're gonna take a look at those here in just a little bit. So you can definitely see the resemblance of this lure compared to the Big O. And the color that we have right here is chartreuse black. And I have a few of these. I think these are awesome lures. These are cool crankbaits. I pick them up every time I find them. If they're, you know, a few bucks a piece. They're a lot of fun to fish and collect. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that would have looked like back in the 1974 catalog. And so, got this marked here. Heck, I could probably just pull the whole page out. And I can! Look at that, because the thing's falling apart here. So here's the Rogers ad from the 1974 catalog. And you see the Big Jim right there. You got all the different colors and variations that we have here. And then it also talks about right there as well too. So you have Jim Rogers and Billy Westmoreland, who helped create this lure. So there you have it. Nice lure, nice piece of fishing history right here. Like I said, a lot of fun to collect. And if you run into these, pick them up, fish them. They're a blast. Now, speaking of the 1970s, arguably the hottest crankbait of the 1970s is none other than the Big O. We've got the Big O right here. Also got a Baby O. We got another one right there. Talk about iconic lures. Now, I've talked about this in multiple videos. In fact, I actually made a Big O video. And go check out that Big O video right here. I'll go ahead and put the link down below so you can check that out. But this was invented by Fred C. Young back in the 1960s. Okay, so O stood for Otis, who was Fred's brother. This lure was so popular and so hot back in the day that they would actually charge $25 a day to rent this. In addition to that, you had to put down a $25 deposit just to use this lure. Really cool. Go check out that history. Watch that video. So in 1973, Cordell started making the Big O and sold over 1 million the first year alone. And let me go ahead and show you what that looks like here back at the 1974 catalog. And just, I mean, whew, such a cool, fun, iconic crankbait. This right here. Bass Pro Shops. This page doesn't come out. I don't want to rip that out. But it says, Bass Pro Shops #1 selling lure in 1973, over 1 million sold in its first season. Imagine that. Imagine the popularity and how hot that was. No shock though. I mean, this thing was just it. I mean, revolutionary for its day. Just absolutely incredible. But I want you guys to really kind of sink in this ad right here, because this is really the first Big O ad the Bass Pro had, because this is the first Bass Pro catalog. So of course it's the first ad. But I want you guys to take a look at what we got right there. Really cool piece of fishing history right there. So let's go ahead and take a look at the ones that we've got here in the box. Obviously, these are probably a little bit newer. These are likely not 70s. We're going back to the 80s again because I'm pretty sure most of the things in this box are from the 1980s. And we have right here what's called, this is a baby Big O, and this is called Tiger Yellow. So there you have that. This one is chartreuse, blackback, orange belly. Pretty self-explanatory right there. And then this one right here, I'm not 100% on the color name of this one, but I think it's just orange, black stripe, you know. And how do you know if you got a Big O? Let's say you're at a garage sale or state sale or whatever else. If you're looking for these, it says Big O right there, so you can't miss it. And look for the Cordell. You know, and a lot of these have markings on them as well too, so if you're confused, this one says Rogers right there. And this one says Big Jim. So that's how you know you can kind of figure out what you're working with. But anytime I can find these, I pick them up. And you know what? At any garage sale, state sale, these are really a dime a dozen. I mean, I've got a ton of them. I'll probably end up selling a few of these on eBay so somebody else can enjoy them if they want to put them in their collection. Or maybe I'll just keep a couple of them to fish because they're just a lot of fun to fish with. So there you have it. That's another just incredible, iconic lure from this little tackle box. All right, up next, I don't know if this is going to be my favorite one of the box or not. It's hard for me to pick. They're all fantastic in their own right, but the color is what I love most about this lure. And what we have here is the Norman DD22. Just a really awesome deep diving crankbait, but I've never seen this color before. I want to fish it so bad, but I'm so scared to lose it. But you got this yellow back right here, and just look at all the colors that pop inside of this. And look at the way that kind of mirrored finish on the inside. That's crazy. Love this lure. Absolutely love it. So this was first introduced back in late 87, late 87, and first appearing in the 1988 Bass Pro catalog that we'll take a look at here in just a second. The DD22 went over 20 foot down. This thing was a deep diver, okay? And honestly, cool lure. I'm not a huge, super deep diver fisherman or whatever else. 22 feet's pretty low for what I typically fish myself, but what I just like about this is the color of the lure. So we'll take a look at what this would have looked like new in the 1988 catalog right here. But it also talks about that as well too, that, you know, how far this goes down, and you know how it, look at this right here, it helped Ken Cook win, you know, $50,000 out of his $100,000 from 1987. So just an iconic lure from back in the day, and actually you can still find these today, really. But I've never seen this color before. I don't know what this color is, so if you're a Norman color expert out there, let me know. That is pretty awesome. So that is that. It's the Norman DD22. All right, up next, looks like a pretty unassuming little lure that you may not think a whole lot of, but it was actually a pretty popular style lure back in the mid 1970s. And what we have here, this is a Rebel Humpback, and you can tell obviously by the way that this is the Humpback or the Humpy, and this is a floater or whatever else. So these were popular back in the day. So let's go ahead and take a look here. We're gonna go back into the 70s again, this time back to 1975. Let's see if we can find right here. So we look at this. Look at the style of these lures. You see the Rebel R, see the Humpback design on that, and then here's the actual Humpback itself. Pretty cool. They weren't the only ones doing this, folks. Look at this. The Norman's little scooper Humpback. This is kind of just like the style from back in the day, you know, almost just like the Big O's. The Humpbacks were also another, you know, trendy lure style, if you will. And what I like about this one as well, here, actually, let me show you one more real quick. Let me take a look here. This is in the 1978. Let's just appreciate that cover, by the way. Airbrush, yes. God, I gotta love that. But this is the Humpback F25 is what we've got here in the collection. So you can see, there's where it is. 1, 3, 4, inch, 1/4 ounce, goes down to 3 feet. But there you have it. So that's what we've got right here. And really, kind of a rare color. I don't see this color all that much. I have other ones, but they're more of a bone body with an orange back. This is a gold body, white belly, orange back. So I got this because the color's cool, okay? I mean, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna just keep it in the collection because it's awesome. So, but that is a humpback. And so, you know, folks, I do these videos too so you can kind of maybe help distinguish, you know, one type of lure from another. And so when you see something like this, when you see it's kind of got a flat belly like that, but a huge arch in the back, you know that's a humpback. Or humpy. That's what Rebel called it. Before we move on, I got to show you this real quick. This actually just fell out of the 1978 catalog right here. And this is an original order form. I'm going to cover the guy's name just because, you know, for privacy. But how awesome this is. Look at this. Shipped March 12th, 1979. How amazing is that? What did he get? He got 100 pack of jelly worms, some natural ikes, you get some worm hooks, some weights, oh man, and some line. But look at this. I love this. This is just a stress call right here. He's like, I have not received my 1979 catalog. Please send it. He writes it like 3 different times how he really wants to get his 1979 catalog because he has more ordering to do. So I get it, dude. Come on, Bass Pro, get his catalog to him. The guy's got some stuff to buy. Jeez Louise. All right, moving on. We've got this one right here, and this one's called a sparkle tail. And glad the sun's out right now. Actually, it looks like it's going to cloud up and maybe rain here in a little bit. Probably need to hurry this up. But for obvious reasons, it's called the sparkle tail. So I don't know a ton of history on this lure. I do know that you can still find these today. But this was first introduced in the 1960s by Hubbard's Lures. And there is an amazing little tackle shop in Wichita called Ziner's, and you can still buy these new today. So Eppinger or Red Eye tackle brand makes these today. This is a little bit older one because I don't know exactly what color that is. You know, so I don't know if they still produce this color. So this one's, you know, slightly vintage, but you know, this is something that I'll probably put on eBay for someone else to enjoy or put in their collection or they can fish with. But just a really neat little lure. Now, the last 2 or 3 that we've got here, these are all going to be for sale and stuff I don't know a whole lot about, but the only reason I picked this one up, look at this beast right here. This thing is huge. Here's the size of my hand. Here's the lure. This is called the Stretch 25 Plus texture. Look at the bill on that puppy. Dang. The only reason I got this is because it's new old stock. So, I mean, I know it's, we'll call it somewhat vintage. It has a website, but I'm going to guess that's an early website. And I'm sorry, there's a plane getting ready to land in my backyard, it sounds like. But I didn't buy this for $14. I'm not sure what I got it for, but I'll put it online for a reasonable price. And if someone wants to pick it up, this would be a really neat lure to actually use. So if you want to use something like this, pretty cool, new old stock Mann's Stretch 25 Plus. And these 2 right here are 2 that I have absolutely no idea what they are because I think they're knockoffs. Okay, we're going to start with this one right here. This is like, in my opinion, a Hellbender knockoff. It's made of wood, okay? It's got bulging eyes. I mean, I don't know if this is homemade or what this thing is. Slightly heart-shaped bill, like a Hellbender, but obviously we know it's not that. What is this? All right, so you folks out there who've seen it all, let me know if you know what this lure is. This is an interesting one for sure. It may be homemade. I don't know. I haven't seen it before. This one looks incredibly cheap. And this is probably something from the dollar store back in the day, TG&Y or whatever else, like, you know, Kmart special. I'm not sure what this thing is, but cheap plastic, kind of a cool printing on it. Not a bad designed lure. It's just super cheaply made. I mean, just really light plastic. I mean, I don't know what this is. So, do you guys remember that lure brand back in the days called the Producers? They kind of made a bunch of knockoffs. Well, this is like a knockoff of a Producers. That's how cheap this is. So, but hey, I'm gonna put this, maybe this. I'll make a whole big pile. We'll put them up for sale. If anybody wants them, they can fish them, they can collect them, they can do whatever they want with them. But it's just kind of fun to go through this old stuff. But if you know what this thing is, or who made it, or who produced it, what I thought was kind of weird is this I don't know what this is, an Adam's apple or something on this thing. I don't know what the heck that, or, you know, maybe he's got a bad pimple or something. I'm not sure what's happening there, but let me know if you know what that is. Interesting little lure. Thanks for watching Angling Archaeology, where we unearth the good old days. Don't forget to like and subscribe.